Hey guys, what's going? Yeah, whatever. All right, so I made a cars video way back in the day. I'm not talking about the vehicle cars. I'm talking about controlled articular rotations. Basically, that's like a big component of the functional range systems, which is what your boy talks about quite a bit. Within my car video, I was not too happy with the hip car specifically, which kind of is a big deal. Right, because if it's not looking saucy, I'm not okay with it. So I kind of want to go through the hip car once again because, you know, what else is there to talk about?
I bought his pills, I gained weight.
Well, you still look like you're pretty heavy, sir.
So look, there is a big part of the car that you can see, you can visually see, but unless you really dive deep into the fine details, you will have no clue what's going on. So on the surface, a hip car just looks like this, bro. So we got that adduction, right? We're going in towards the body. Hip flexion, cool story, right? We're keeping that chest up tall, okay? Externally rotate, opening up that hip. Now, this is the part that actually is debatably the most important, but it gets so wrong. So we're going internal rotation. Oh man, you can really feel that cramp sensation, right? Back and hip extension, in towards the body, and we're just doing the reverse. Hip extension, out, boom, external rotisserie chickens this time. All right, now in towards the body. Okay, cool. So that's what the hip does, all right? That's all the motions of the hip. Now, like I said, that rotation component, you'll know why I'm doing this with my hands in a second. That rotational component is the most critical, okay? It's the, what's that? External, internal, external rotation, right? It's that rotation component. So on the surface, because you see my leg, you see the knee move, you see the foot move kinda, but that's not the point. So you can really get confused as to what exactly is going on there. And let me demonstrate. We got this foam roller here, right? I don't really know what it's used for, but right now, this is a good prop. So let's say this is our hip, right? So you're looking at my hip right now, or don't. And this is the hip, and this is the hip bones, right? So this is the pelvis region in the center, and these are the legs. Ooh. So got your left leg here, right leg here, right? Now this is the hips, theoretically. All right. Now, when we're doing external rotation, check this out, bro. You usually just see your leg move like down, up, out, down, up, right? Okay. The most important part is check this out. So, we're going galactic mode. The hip bone, right, the pelvis that's connected to the hip right here. So when these two bones in the hip, so the pelvis into the leg, when they connect, right here is what's called the joint capsule. Now that's the most important thing to know because that's where movement essentially starts. I'm gonna make another video about that some other time, okay? But if I wanted to talk about that in this video, we don't have enough Adderall or focus to make this happen. But theoretically, this is the joint capsule. So when I talk to you about the external, internal rotisserie chickens, hopefully you didn't forget.
Beautiful.
The motion is actually like a screw motion, okay? So we're screwing the hip, basically, okay? So it's a boom, boom. And that's all it is. It's not a down-up motion, which is what you would see the calf and the knee do. Even though you see it go down and up, what's happening at the hip is super important, okay? Because it's a screw, all right? So when we demonstrate a hip car, it's really hard to identify what exactly is going on at the hip, okay? And where that, what is actually the responsibility of that joint capsule. So, another demo. This is how we do it. We insert this into this. And then so in the hip car, right, I showed you the external, internal rotation, but here's what's going on deep down inside. What the motion actually is supposed to be is this. So let's say so now my leg is completely locked out, but this would be internal rotation, that's screwing in and then screwing out, okay? It's more so this. Oh, that's a lot of screwing, baby. But that's essentially when the two bones meet, they have to externally and internally rotate, okay? And it's like I said, it's just this weird, basically, I'll be honest with you, the motion doesn't feel good, but that's how you know it's right.
Beautiful.
Okay, it's because those two bones are gliding against each other, all right? And that's the responsibility of the hip capsule. So if you're just feeling like your leg, if you're feeling like your leg is just going back and forward, that's not what you want. The motion should be like inside the hip, and it should feel like that hip, that bone is gliding against another, because it's a screw. And it's kind of a strange feeling. It's not necessarily a good feeling. It's not a bad feeling, but it's more like it's one of those kind of feelings. It's a little bit different, right? So be careful when you're doing your hip car. Pay close attention to that motion and notice what your hip's doing and what it's feeling, okay? Because that is super important, because like I said, that's where movement gets created. That's the responsibility of the capsule of itself. And you need to get that motion down. So anyways, I hope that helps. All right. I'll be posting more about this. So stay tuned and don't do drugs. Much love. All right. We made it to the end. And I want to say thank you for locking in this far. And I left this out at the end because chances are, if you were actually interested, you stayed to this point. So this is where we get super nerdy, and I figured this is where people would just get completely lost. So right here, this is a video of the man himself, Dr. Dre. He is a doctor of chiropractic. He came up with the functional range systems, or designed it. The link to this video will be down below if you want to dive deep into it. But I figured I'd make a summary about it just so you know I'm not talking out of my ass here when I'm explaining this to you. So right in the center of that bubble, you see those two weird things? Those are the bones, and that's where the joint capsule meets. That's just basically what he explains there. Now, the bigger bubble around it is what he calls and defines the workspace. Workspace just means how well the joint works. Can it move up? Can it move down? How well can it move? Okay, you get the point, right? So he basically explains how if he does an assessment on someone and he sees how well that joint capsule moves, if it's not working well, chances are the workspace isn't going to work well. So it's really no point to look at anything else if the capsule is not functioning correctly. I.e., this is an example of people stretching their hamstrings. Well, you can stretch your hamstrings all you want, but if the capsule is not moving well, the bones aren't gliding properly, the hamstrings are probably always going to be tight. Okay, but you do the opposite, where you start stretching that capsule, moving it, helping it function better, the hamstrings will naturally improve the mobility. Okay, so that's just kind of what he's going over. And then he talks about how the signal gets sent from the joint capsule to the brain. Then the brain sends the signal back to the body, back to the muscles, tells it how well it can move, vice versa, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we'll talk probably about this more in the future. But anyways, yeah. Just give it some heart, baby. Give it some time. Try it out and let me know what you think. Anyways, we out like sauerkraut on that note. And much love, baby. Peace and chicken grease.